Hello, everybody. I am on time today. Hallelujah. Thank the Lord. I hope you guys are having a wonderful evening. If you guys are watching this or listening to this, thank you guys for spending time with me. This is a 5:30 live. I know that I said that for the next week or so, I'll probably do midnight lives because of my work schedule. I hope you guys are having a lovely day. I'm going to say that again. Shout out to everybody watching. I see Joe. I see Kenny um, through the other platforms. Before I go on, I got to do my shout outs now. All right. So make sure you subscribe to the Take It Home podcast. Also, make sure you subscribe to C3 Ultimate Wrestling YouTube page. Like I said, we just cracked 100 subscribers on the Take It Home podcast, and we're like at 81 or 82 on our C3 Ultimate Wrestling YouTube page. As you can see below, you can check out my Facebook, my Twitch, and also the websites. Get ready. My next shows on the way are May 28th in Appleton, Wisconsin. May to Remember, going to be a great show at the American Legion. Do not miss that, May 28th. Shout out to them and everything they do. Also, Kingdom Come, we have returned. C3 Ultimate Wrestling has returned. Lately on my Facebook page, which you should add or search for, I have been giving the card out, and I'm still getting a lot of surprises and stuff like that. You will not be disappointed in everything you continue to do. Shout out, Brian. Thank you. Looks fun. I don't know who some of a million loves, but I love you back. We have the championship match, Miles Mercer and Just Amazing. If you check the YouTube page, you'll see the backstory on why this even happened. It happened at a family-oriented show, and what Miles did, he has to answer for. Now, I am pushing for somebody, but we do things straight down the line here. We try to. All right, we got Aaron Stone versus Jackson P. Larkin for the C3 Urban Culture Championship. It's going to be a good match. These guys have been at each other's necks for the longest, and the champion asked for this match. So that is also an interesting factor. We have me versus Cassidy Keith, the BIG at the 313. I wanted the smoke with some guys when I was injured, and he was one of the first ones. So this is why this is happening. It's going to be a dope match. Kevin Young Sr., aka Yellow Pill Coffee Company on YouTube and Facebook, and also his socials as well. Kevin Young Sr. A lot of dope topics. He talked about a dope topic today about Black men and the oppression of it. I don't want to go into it because I'll do something else against my topic. But yeah, definitely dope. You should check him out. He's going live again tonight. I want to say the 9:30 or 10 o'clock. I'm going to definitely try to be a part of that. We got Marcelo Spade versus Mike Valentine, both guys that are trying to make a name for themselves still in C3, with Spade having ups and downs, and also Mike Valentine having ups and downs. So it's going to be a great match. We announced not too long ago that we're going to have a mystery tag team to come in against the C3 tag team champions, Legit. And yeah, it's going to be a dope tag team. They think very highly of themselves. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right, as I'm going back to my screen, we are going to talk about a serious topic that many promoters and wrestlers talk about or debate about. They have a lot of debates about this situation. The question of the day is, deep breath, what are the duties of a promoter / booker? And then I also wanted to put what are the wrestlers responsible for, but I didn't want a long title. You get what I'm saying? So, like I said, I appreciate you guys for coming in and checking this out. Now, I'm going to give you a backstory about what I do and how I do it, right? So, you guys know that as of March of this year, I've been wrestling for 10 years, but I've been a booker and a promoter, and I work with my wife as well. Shout out Sensational Shay. And we've been doing C3 Ultimate Wrestling, previously C3 Wrestling, for 3.5 years, basically now. So, as a wrestler, I've seen good things that promoters done. And for the confusion, I know that a promoter and a booker are two different things, but I'll put them together just for this. And that's because that's what I do myself. So I've seen good things, I've seen bad things. And even on a wrestler's relationship, I've seen good and bad as well. So we're going to try to dissect that in this lovely evening. Okay, so let's get to it. As a promoter, I make sure that as far as pay is concerned, their money is in envelopes before I even get into the building. Y'all better be careful with that soundbite. But I make sure that they are taken care of. That means it does not matter if I have one person or 100 people. These people are going to be taken care of because, you know, some guys, you know, they're literally putting their life on the line for wrestling, for a show. Some people are driving. Some people are going through a whole bunch of things or whatever like that. So they're going to get paid regardless. If I only have one person, I'm going to really blame myself more than I would blame the wrestler for not having a lot of people here. So my thing is, if I'm putting the most, Sierra says, so they should be two different people, but most times they aren't. That's true. That's why I said I was going to put them together, because I do both. So The booker books the matches. The promoter is responsible for promoting the show with the even with ticket sales and having people come out sell tickets and everything like that. I do both of them. So, but I only for time's sake, and I just don't want to keep going back and forth. So I want to break down that definition of what both of them are. Shout out to you, C Red. God bless you, brother. I gotta talk to you. I ain't talked to you in a long time. Going back to what I was saying. So my thing is, it is my company, so I obviously have to do majority of the work. I have to book the event. I have to make sure that insurance is in play. I have to make sure deposits are in play. I have to make sure that people are paid. I have to make sure permits are good. I have to make sure that the venue that I am at understands what wrestling is, because believe it or not, a lot of people don't know outside of WWE, even AEW, that independent wrestling exists. And that's something that I actually going to strive to break the mold so more people know what it is. You know, like I said, no shade to a lot of these companies, because a lot of companies, in my own company, we do a lot of stuff and people don't even know. Like even people who went to my show, they said they never knew anything outside of WWE exists. So that is one thing that I am trying to change. But going back into it, as far as promoting, making tickets, printing tickets, getting flyers, making flyers, creating flyers, I edit. I do the promos. I do all of that stuff. And I'm not saying it to brag and I'm not saying it to complain, but I got to believe in my company more than anybody. I got to believe in my company more, me and my wife's company more than anybody, because I have to represent that. So that's the part with the ticket. That's the part on what I have to do. And I have to make sure everything is good. Now, with that being said, let's go into the ticket sale thing. Now, I came in around the last part where social media was used to promote, but people were still going out, passing flyers and selling tickets and stuff like that. So my take on it is this. I don't have a problem with working for a company and having to sell tickets or something like that. You know, that's the old school thing. That was the way that you got on the show. That was the way you got compensated, was that if you actually cared about the company enough to sell tickets. Now, as I'm going into this, talking about this discussion, I have been around people who felt like they were above selling tickets. And it is for the job, for the promoter or the booker. Well, the promoter more than anything. So my take on it is this, and I just said it. We are responsible for a lot of the stuff. So if a promoter asks you to sell tickets, or if they have a communication, if you guys have communication about that, it should probably be the best thing to sell tickets. You know, we always talk about with wrestlers that we need to invest in ourselves. And when I say invest in ourselves, I don't mean just selling merch with your face on it. I don't mean just having gear, but you should want people to be happy or to be excited to see you wrestling. And sometimes a lot of people are like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't have to do that or anything like that. That's why I said communication is key between the promoter and the wrestler, because a lot of people aren't brought up the same way. And some people do not go with the old school tradition. Now, I'm not saying I'm against it or anything like that, but that's the truth. You know, you have people, you know, you try to toss to them and then they're like, wait, that's not something that we worked on. Whether it's somebody who worked for a long time, because usually with the veterans and stuff like that, they know the game and they know how to do it. So sometimes we come to them as humble and as modest as we can, and we see what we're trying to do. But to get booked for some shows, you would have to sell tickets. Or even if you wanted to be booked for a show, you'd come in and do ring crew, or you do something to show that you care for the company. It's not just oh, well, you need to do this and you need to do that. I've done it a couple times. People done it for my show. Shout out to Ryan. Ryan has done it. A lot of people have done it. Even people who didn't even wrestle on a card, they help with ring crew. Spade, shout out to him. I've had fans help us clean up the event after the show. Like those things that I'm going to keep with me till I die, because they didn't have to do anything like that. Rich says, not everyone wants to help, unfortunately. And that's true, because a lot of people, it's not a team effort. And I'm not just crapping on the wrestlers, because as a promoter, also another thing about promoting, you need to make sure that you are taking care of your wrestlers. For example, and a lot of people can attest to this, when COVID hit, we had to move one show back. But before that, we had like a couple shows already. But COVID was rampant. So we were allowed because Indiana was more chillax, right? So what we did was my wife and my mother-in-law and a couple people are certified, the EMTs, the nurses, and everything like that. So when COVID hit, we had thermometers. We had the forehead thermometers, and we had questionnaires, and we had concern because if you did feel sick or if you didn't feel that well, then you definitely didn't need to come. And I've had a couple people say they couldn't make it because they didn't feel good or it was COVID. The thing was, I didn't want the other wrestlers who were already coming out here to get it, and I also didn't want it to spread to the fans and stuff like that. We spread it out the chairs where the ring was at. We spaced everything out. We advised people not to touch the wrestlers or anything like that. Not saying that people are dirty, but with COVID, it was kind of crazy out. We told people that they had to wear masks, and it was just a whole bunch of things. I had to care for my wrestlers. Now, there are a lot of promoters that don't do that. They just want them to go out and wrestle or do whatever. But no, you do have to care for people. Bryant says, and those that don't help get rewarded. Sir, you are opening up some wounds that I kind of have time to talk about today. Maddie Fresh from YouTube says, passing out flyers should be a must because not everyone is on social media. Promoting the show should be a must as well. C-Red says, was proud of how C3 took care of everyone for that show. Appreciate you, man. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate it. Now, going back to Matt's comment about passing out flyers. This is what I was brought up on was, okay, we're going to meet here. Like we did shows at Hammond when I was a youngster, and we would meet on Calumet, on Torrance, and we would pass out flyers, or go on Hammond on Calumet Ave and we pass out flyers. I remember it was only me and this guy named Brian. Shout out to him. We just went out and flyer. My thing was I love the business and I wanted to show how much I care for it. And one thing that I was always taught was that dues were never unpaid. Now, I don't know if people still run with that, but I still believe that even to this day. When I'm all the way in Wisconsin, sometimes I got to drive all the way there and then I got to drive all the way back because I have work the next day or whatever like that. Before I leave, I always ask, hey, do you need me to do ring crew? Ring crew is also something that's very debatable. That's something that needs to be talked about between the promoter and the wrestler. Some people say it's not their home company, so they don't want to do it. Some people do it, some people don't. Some people feel like they're above it. Some people say, nah, I'm not paid for that. Some people say, oh, you need to pay extra, whatever like that. That's why I say communication is key, because you do have a lot of people that feel a certain way. Me with ring crew, this is me, right? If I'm booked somewhere and they say I need to be here at a certain time, if the ring is not up, I'm going to go help. And then it's also a good thing to check out what you're going to bump in and what you're going to fall in and what you're going to dive out of and stuff like that. You'd be surprised what people do to put a ring together, whether it's safe or not. You should know the insides of what you're doing. That's another thing of investing is health, right? So you should definitely look at what you're bumping in, what you're running in. What if somebody has a board that's broke? You know, this stuff happens and nobody told you that or whatever like that because you didn't want to touch the ring or anything like that. What if you can't go off the ropes? Now, these are things that truly do happen. Like freak stuff happen. Like we just seen Bobby Lashley like go over the rope because the rope broke. So we've seen stuff like that. So if that's happening at the number one company, you can imagine that it's happening everywhere else. That's the thing about paying dues. Like that is, it's turned into a subjective term because a lot of people feel like either they've done it or they feel like they paid their dues. What's going on, John? Shout out to you. Like I said, if I'm looking down on my phone, it's because I'm also on the Facebook comments through StreamYard. So promoting is to me, I like it, but it can't. I'm not stressed when I promote because I have a lot of people who are loyal, and I ask them to do something and they do it. It's a couple pushbacks, obviously. I'm not going to air nobody out because everybody has been doing good. But I want the wrestlers to understand that if you do want to wrestle for companies, especially if it's an old school company like my own or John, you probably need to show what you can do and what you can offer before that. Henceforth, have a resume. A lot of people are having resumes. These resumes are looking real dope now. Have a great resume. Have a few pictures. Have a promo if you do a promo. John's big thing is make sure that it's horizontal so you catch the whole thing instead of a vertical promo. So you can do things like that. Show that you're invested. Go to the show. I'm not saying that you're going to 100% get booked, but show that you want to be booked. Show that you want to do things. Kale Kendra says, Justin said you would think you would to put your hands on what you're putting your life in. Yep, that's what I just said. I just said that. I was like, yeah, you want to know what you're going to do, what you're going to bounce on. What, I've seen rings where they didn't have a big mat. The mat was like real thin. I've seen people bumping boxing rings and MMA rings and stuff like that. Like, you should want to know what you're going to do. Like I said, I already stress about health insurance. I stress about that so much. And I know it's expensive and it can be a pain in the butt. But man, all these GoFundMes, and most of the time people don't hit their goal, unfortunately, because people don't support like that. And you should also invest in yourself. That is very important. That is a very important thing, right? But going back into promoting, or like if you want to show that you want to wrestle for the company, most promoters are like, prove it. What are you going to do? Are you going to show up? Are you going to help with ring crew and stuff like that? I've done it before. But some people are like, hey, man, I've been doing this for a long time. I don't need to do that. And I don't need to do that. And some promoters are like, okay, well, we'll get back to you. They may get back to you or they may not. I've had people, my first show, one guy, he was like, if you need help with anything, even though I'm not booked, let me know. He was booked that first show because I was grateful. I was grateful because I didn't know what the heck I was doing my first show. I was nervous. I didn't know I just knew how to do stuff the right way, kind of, but this still was my first show. And I still had to learn because the second show we went over our time by an hour, and we could have really got in trouble for that because the building closed early. You guys know I do early shows or whatever. The building closes at 4. We left at like 4:30. So I was learning, and I'm still learning. You get what I'm saying? Bryant says your best investment is the one within yourself. And that's true. You hear that promo a lot on every wrestling company. Blood, sweat, and tears. I would do anything to wrestle, but you ain't gonna sell tickets. You don't want to sell tickets. You don't. And then my thing is this: Facebook and internet, right? Everyone has a platform, right? So, all right, cool. We know the ins and outs of the business. We know the ins and outs. Most of us do. Our friends and family are probably way harder to get to come to a wrestling show than somebody that you meet on the street. And that's 100% fact. And y'all know that. A lot of us know that. Y'all know that if your friend came one time or didn't come one, or say they're going to keep coming at the next show, they're not coming. So what you need to do is you do need to reach out to people that you don't know. You have a better chance reaching out to more people. And trust me, I've had my fair share of my family and also people who I've just met through Facebook or through anything, or people who call through the Google site or whatever like that. You have a better chance of people seeing you and investing in you when you let these people know what you're doing. Promoting where you wrestle at is a part of investing. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And yes, the promoter has to do a lot more. And I'm not saying that as a complaint or anything like that. But at the same time, we're not going to sit here and act like people feel like they're God's gift to wrestling, and they're not. They're not even close. No offense, no shade under this big tree, no shade. But it's you have to. These are small things that promoters will look at and not book you anymore. And then you wind up going on Facebook saying it's hard for me to get booked. And then a promoter will low key kind of check you. And then you'll be like, nah, you're just trying to stop my shine. No, you're stopping your own shine by not investing. John says, Chip Walker came to my first CCW event, helped set up and take down, helped fans to their seats. He was booked the next event, earned his roster spot. And that was a big show, John. That was a big show. It was literally standing room only. And the only reason why I sat down was because I was doing audio, even though the chorus was messing up. Sorry about that. But yeah, that's the thing. C Red, who is a gift to wrestling, he does ring crew for everybody, almost everybody. Every time I've seen him, he touches the ring. He don't need to do that. And when I say that, that doesn't mean that other people shouldn't be able to do that. Like with people who put their name in the game and everything like that, I usually be like chill or whatever like that. But if you want to help, go ahead. John too. John wears these bomb fly suits, right? And he helps with Ring Crew, wingtip shoes, all that, church fresh, and he helps. Shout out to John. He helps with Ring Crew. He'll do it with his blazer on. John says, as promoters, you can't depend on family and friends to be fans. You need to target the general public. Social media is wonderful, but not the only option. And I agree with that. I agree with that. With social media, if you have friends, if you have 1,000 friends and family members on your Facebook and they haven't went to a show, you're going to either need to add more friends or you're going to have to go out and say, hey, you need to come to this show. I've been somewhere where the booker says you need to sell tickets and people say, oh, I can't sell tickets. Nobody's going to come. Why would I invest in you anymore if you're not even investing in yourself and the company that you're trying to wrestle for? It's cool. Everybody want to go out and wrestle, but I'd rather be seen. I'd rather be seen. when a booker tells you we on a system to where we sell tickets and then you turn around, nobody ever comes and blah 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 blah. I can find somebody that would take time out of their work day and go promote. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's investing. Everybody complains about if the crowd is low, if it's a low draw. Everybody complains about that. But then it's like, maybe if you promote it, maybe more people would have came. And that's like the relationship issue. And it's not even much of an issue. It's something that can be resolved so quick. You get what I'm saying? Communication is key. If you are a wrestler and you're booked for a show and a promoter asks for a promo picture, please get them a promo picture. Like if you're a wrestler, you should automatically have a promo picture in your phone. That's not the promoter's job to try to fish for a picture. And I've done this before. I ain't doing it no more. I ain't doing it no more. I ain't doing that no more. Believe me, I ain't doing that no more. You should always have these kind of things. You should. Ken says, remember, sell tickets to get paid. Yeah. There are systems to where you get paid more when you sell tickets. You get what I'm saying? And then as promoters, we also have to do our research on wrestlers. And that's for promoters who are listening or upcoming promoters that are about to start. You should do an investigation on people that you book. Small background checks. Everybody has a platform. Same thing with wrestlers. Hey, look, I know that you guys want to wrestle. A lot of people want to wrestle every week. If they want to wrestle, they can and stuff like that. But you need to look at background check for a lot of these companies, who they book. Are they booking these predators and stuff like that? Are they booking these abusers? Are they booking these people who don't care about anything like that? Is it in the middle of nowhere? What's the crime rate? What's this and what's that? You seriously need to do that. That's on both ends. You guys, you have to do a background check because that person that you booked could destroy your whole company and you didn't intend because you didn't know. And that's an important aspect when it comes to wrestling, is that you always have to do your research. Communication is key, and so is research. With that speaking out movement, which only lasted until COVID kind of went away, even though it never did, you see so many people getting booked again. You see so many people who had videos of abusers and stuff. They deleted them, but then they brought them back because those views, they got the millions of views and they want to be partnerships with YouTube. You get what I'm saying? That's the thing. You should do that. It's all about investing. Some shows aren't worth being booked. Honestly. They give you a running around on your pay. They say they're going to pay you this. You know, if y'all do front and half back ends on pay, that'll be dope or whatever like that. Sometimes people say they'll pay you and then they expect to have a sellout crowd, and then they sold out because they didn't give you the money because it was a low gate. Or maybe they feel like your match wasn't up to par and they feel like they don't want to pay you back. It's crazy. John says, I do my best to background check and reference check those that work for me and want to work for us. Yes. And then, like I said, it is very important because not only are wrestlers investing, but promoters and bookers have to invest in their company as well. You know, KL Kendra says, oh, where the tacos for the logic. Ooh, tacos. But Rich says, I don't know if this is related, but fans love physical flyers and tickets in person goes a long way. And this is coming from a fan who's been and a friend who's been at every show since C3 started. And that's the thing. He hit the nail on the head. A physical flyer will probably do more of an impact, or a ticket will do more of an impact than online, than on Facebook and stuff like that. And I do sponsorships on Facebook. I really do. I do it, and it does help. I am at 800 likes, and I'm over 900 something followers on Facebook. And I'm grateful for that. And shout out to everybody that has shared who's ever went. But yeah, when you print out, like we also mail flyers to the surrounding area and stuff like that, because people will put that in their car. People will put that in the refrigerator, on their refrigerator, not in it. You're making no flyer sandwich. Put it on their door. They'll do things like that. They'll mark it on their calendar and stuff like that. Like those kind of things are very, very important to do, because texting, I forget text. Sometimes I forget event pages and stuff like that. Sometimes it is good to have a physical thing. John says flyers are so important. A good looking flyer grabs attention. A bad looking flyer can run off a potential fan. And that's another thing, even with flyers. Promoters, sometimes the best thing to do with a flyer is actually put professional wrestling on the flyer, because some of these flyers be looking dope, but then some of them be looking like movie posters. Like, hey man, this look like a good old movie. Like, what is this? You know, sometimes I usually put live pro wrestling like on a flyer, unless it like messes up the design or something like that. You know, make sure that when your flyer looks good, make sure the date is big. Make sure the time is big. Make sure that stuff kind of stuff is big. I've seen countless flyers to where you literally have to struggle to find the date, the issues, the details. Usually, if I'm looking at something like that and it's already hard to sell a ticket and whatnot, I'm probably not going to go, because I probably can't see where to go. You get what I'm saying? Like, I just try to make it as big as possible. Make sure an elderly person can read the flyer. Exactly, John. Is you need to make sure that it's accessible. Now, like I said, I make my own stuff and all of that stuff. And like, I'm not the best, but I think I get the point. I think I get the point clear with the flyer. Now, one thing you might say about Kingdom Come Flyer might be, well, one, the small text kind of, but it's still big enough. When you print it out, it looks nice. It looks nice. You know, you have a lot of the people that's on the show. You also have the date. You have where it's going to be at. You have a lot of things. You have the website. I have my sponsor and stuff like that. That's something that we'll be talking about shortly, is the sponsor. So I try to do things, you know, to make sure it's eligible. Shout out to Steve. Yep, make sure to put the date and the address on it. And yeah, Steve, you were right about the Dakota Kai thing. I think, yeah, you were more right. I think that was the story that I was more focused on. So you are right. I will say that live on air. But shout out to you. It's just a big thing about what promoters and what even a booker is supposed to do and what a wrestler is supposed to do. And it's just like, if you work together, everything works out for itself. I get excited for wrestling shows. You get what I'm saying? And I want the fan, or even the person who doesn't know about it, I want them to get excited about the wrestling show that I wrestle for as well. You get what I'm saying? Simple. Hey, if I can print out a flyer, if the company that I'm interested in says we pass out flyers or something like that, I'm going to go out and do it. And I've done it. I remember I used to wrestle in Woodstock, and they said that they wanted us to pass out flyers. Woodstock is like 2 hours away from me. That day we drove 2 hours out, got flyers, and we fly for like 2 hours or whatever like that. And then people came. The police came too, long story. But they should have paid for their ticket. But it's all about investing. It's all about what you want to do. And sometimes promoters, they have a different requirement for you getting booked. Sometimes it doesn't matter how long you wrestled. Doesn't matter how many matches you had. It doesn't matter how many seminars you have. Are you going to sell a ticket? Can you do a promo? Could you come to the show? Are you going to come to the show? Are you going to show interest in the company? Because sometimes people don't care for the company, they want to wrestle, but sometimes you won't tell because they are devoted to the wrestling business and they do what's needed to be respected and stuff like that. Communication is key. Also, do your own research. Do your research about these companies. Do research about the wrestlers and stuff like that. Take criticism as well. You have a lot of promoters that are looking for a certain thing in wrestling. Like my thing is this, right? They with C3 Ultimate Wrestling, I try to do things different, but it is difficult. You know, you're going to see probably a match you've seen at another company, but I got to add my own spice to it. What can I do to make it different from everybody else? Or you're going to see fresh matches. Every show we've had, I believe this is, I'm old, y'all. I think this is number 8. I think this is show number 8. I've had debuts and I've had matches that nobody's ever seen before because I want to do something different. I want to put C3 Ultimate Wrestling on the map for the community and also for the wrestlers as well. I'm trying to do things different. You're going to see things you've never seen before, and I take pride in that as a wrestler. Steve says, yeah, it depends if you're paying dues. You should pass out flyers, spread the word until you get dirt on your boots, and then you can just cut promo shows up, perform, and collect. Until then, spread the word, because when the company does good, you can do good. Yeah, a lot of people who are alumni to Windy City Pro Wrestling, they talked about what they had to do to even be a part of the company, and they didn't even wrestle yet. They didn't even get in the ring. You had to sell tickets. You had to promote. You know, I'm not against that kind of thing, honestly. I don't see nothing wrong with that. And then, you know, if you do make a bigger name for yourself, people will drive everywhere. Like ask Justin Amazing, ask KO Kendra. People will drive hours to see you perform. Regardless if you're wrestling for 5 minutes or 50 minutes or a promo segment, people will drive and they will support. That's the sweet thing about wrestling. Atlas says for the culture. Shout out Atlas for the culture. For the culture. That is going to be another video in itself. But going back to it, wrestling is all about investing. Sometimes you do have to invest in yourself. And then sometimes it is good to ask a promoter, what are you looking for? Because some promoters, they aren't looking for what everybody else is looking for. Okay, cool. You can do, no shade to people who can do this, but you can do 450. You can do this. You can tightrope. You can do this. You can bump off the top rope. You can do that. You can do a 450 super kick and then turn it into a Boston Crab while doing a push-up and bringing it around town. Okay. That's not what the promoter's looking for. And people get mad at that. They get discouraged. It's like, don't get discouraged. Like, I know a lot of people are upset with like the WWE releases and stuff like that. And some are calling jive and bullcorn on it. But at the same time, you do have a lot of promoters that are looking for a certain thing. They don't want what everybody has. Some people are looking for like a different moveset and stuff like that. I think that's why people like are starting to like, if you haven't, a lot of people are starting to pay more attention to FTR. Y'all too late. Get off the bandwagon. But anyway, John says, for me, I want promos as on-scene locations. Make your character larger than life. Yes, and it'll be like a work interview too. Who are you? What is your character? What can you provide? What makes you different from everybody else? And like I said, when you go back to that promo, oh, I've been counted out. People left me for dead, and I'm willing to do anything, blood, sweat, and tears. And then when they say sell tickets, you don't want to do it. That's an issue. You just contradicted yourself. And like I said, as a promoter and a booker, I do a lot and I take pride in what I do, but I also want to recoup that. And a lot of us promoters, we usually don't get our money back unless we have consistently sold out crowds. And if we have a lot of sponsorships. I've been blessed since last year, well, since 2020 to have 2 sponsors. And we still looking for more. Cheesy promo crap don't work. Yeah, the Tough Enough. This is the best way I can call it. The Tough Enough promos. You remember like when they was bringing back Tough Enough, and then they had the website. If you clicked on all of them, they all said the same thing except La Rosa Negra. Shout out to her. She did hers on a bicycle. But anyway, a lot of them are the same way, and it's like that's not enough. And it's like, if you're special, you have to prove that. You may have to prove that in a promo over your wrestling skills. Not a lot of promoters are going to sit and look at a whole wrestling match. They'll look at how you come in, how you address the fans, how you don't address the fans, how do you lock up. If your lockup is garbage, they're not calling you back. They're not calling you back. They're not calling you back. Some promoters want that old school thing. And it's like, okay, cool. You can do all of these moves and stuff like that. But then if you can't do a headlock takeover, if your chaining looks like you want to just get it over with, and trust me, when you look at a lot of wrestling matches, you see that, oh, this is just boring. I'm just doing this because to kill time. Then that's a problem. Say, well, you got to know how to talk. And that's the thing. And with wrestling, that was something that you were supposed to be taught. Okay, cool. Wrestling is one side, but then you also have to talk. What makes you different? You can have somebody that have the same moveset as you, but if you have more charisma, you're going to stick more. John says, back when I started, so many of us also dressed the part or dressed in a nice suit to look like a star. And Steve says, no Lacey Evans SOB story. Yeah, Lacey Evans was, I will say this, I liked how she was. They called her MAGA Barbie, which was funny to me, but I don't like what they're doing with her now. But hey, but yeah, dressing the part, having real gear, having authentic stuff, investing. That is investing in yourself. I'm not going to sit here and be like every promoter is thinking like I'm thinking. Every person is thinking like I'm thinking. Some people see the hottest wrestler and they book them just like that. They book them quick. You get what I'm saying? They book them quick because that's going to get them money most likely. You see a lot of these women, like I said in my last live, women are winning in wrestling, regardless if they can wrestle or not, or if they some master splinters out there in their locker room. A lot of women are winning right now. So, and like I said, it's hard for me to book women because it's just what people want to see. Sex sells, and some women are excelling in wrestling and stuff like that. They're doing main events, the intergender matches, and all of that stuff. That's just a hot thing. So that's what people ride with, because at the end of the day, people want to make money. When you're messaging people and promoters and stuff like that, how can you make them money? Excuse my dog barking, but how can you make money? What makes you different? Could they make money with you? Then maybe you have potential and then they can help you with that, because you do have some promoters, they just don't want to make money. They want to contribute to the wrestling business as well. And that's just something that I want to do. I know John does for sure. Justin does for sure, and stuff like that. Being in the radio and stuff like that. With John, I went to Michigan City. He had the studio and stuff like that, and had the playback and was doing interviews and stuff like that. With Justin being in newspapers and stuff like that, and people doing interviews or wanting to take pictures and stuff like that, things that he's giving back to the city of Maywood, him and Kendra, excuse me. I don't want Kendra to get on me. Love you. So when you have those kind of things, everybody's different, because some people do want money. Like, man, people got their taxes, and then you got the World Tax Federation. We're going to call it the WTF. The WTF, World Tax Federation. And people think, oh, well, you're just going to make money off that first show. You're going to lose money that first show, especially if you don't have sponsorships. And it depends on your ticket sales and stuff like that. Then that's why I say you do have a lot of companies that come up that just show up out of nowhere. And like I said, as a wrestler, you should definitely do your own research. You should also see about the people that they are booking and stuff like that, because some stuff is just not worth wrestling for. Rich says there will be number 8. Had to look it up. This will be number 8. Okay, number 8. Thank you. This is my 8th show coming up. Yes. He says that's dope, the stuff y'all are doing. I appreciate that, because most of us, we're trying to put our foot in the door. We're trying to make a name for ourselves and stuff like that. But as a promoter, I know I have to do things way more than what a wrestler do. So I can't sit here and be like, oh, you need to do as much as me. But if I'm just saying sell a ticket or help put the ring up or something like that, that shouldn't be much of an issue. Oh, I found another topic to talk about. But anyway, Atlas says that's what mostly is missing from the indies right now, the ability to draw heat. Yes, because everybody wants to make money. And they think that if they are a super duper heel, they won't sell t-shirts. That's a lie. That is a lie. Lie. Roman sells t-shirts as a heel. MJF sells tickets as a heel. Britt Baker was selling tickets as a heel. Like Jericho, heel, selling t-shirts, merch, all that. Come on, man. Like I don't subscribe to you gotta be a heel on TV and then just break kayfabe because you want people to buy your shirts or subscribe to your Patreon or people to subscribe to your OnlyFans because you a nice person because you want somebody to be like this young gentleman right here. Like I don't subscribe to that, man. Like some people like heels. Like when you think of Stone Cold and you think of Razor Ramon, you think of all of these people and then how they were selling merch and people wanted to be like them. That just shows you how invested they were. Heat sells tickets. Heat gets a bum face over. And this is what Atlas has been speaking about this ever since I went live. That if the heat is so good, if the heel is so good, people want somebody to knock their block off. I'm trying to keep it for kids. I'm not trying to curse. I was going to say something wrong. Lord forgive me. But anyway, you want somebody to take them out. Miles Mercer, the C3 wrestling champion. He does that. I have a guy who I work with. He likes Miles. Oh, man, I like him. He's nice. He's a heel. He didn't shake his hand. He didn't give him props or nothing. That's the part of the investment. Steve says, yeah, that's true. And that's the thing. But like I said, when Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa had that cage match, which I keep my opinion on to myself for right now, people were talking about the thumbtacks were fake. And people got mad. Well, Britt got mad and she went online to discuss it. Don't do that. You owe nobody no explanation. You do not have to do that. You're already popular. DMD. People love you. You've grown since AEW started. So you don't have to do that. Nowadays, people are heel and want to hurry up and try to sell merch and stuff like that. Oh, I'm nice. I'm a heel during my wrestling match, right? But I'm so nice during intermission. Hey, how you doing? Let me kiss your baby. Let me shake a hand and do all kind of stuff. There's ways around that. You can work with that stuff. You can work around that to protect who you're portraying and who you are at the same time and sell a ticket. If you have a super duper villain, people will pay to see somebody overtake him. Randy Orton, especially the Viper run or even the Legend Killer run, that dude looks senile. People really wanted somebody to take this man out. This dude was kicking people in the head. This dude kicked John Cena's daddy, John Cena Sr., in the head. People was thirsty for that. And then when his dad kicked him back, the roof went off the spot. I mean, you can turn it on and off, but if you turn it on, you better make sure it's sells. And that's the thing, though. That's the thing, Steve, is that so many people, they'll just turn it off as soon as the match is over because they want to sell a ticket. They want to sell their merch and stuff like that. But if you're doing good and if you're doing all right, you will sell. And sometimes you won't. It's just a part of the business. You might sell out your shirts one show, the next show you might not. You might be the same fans. Rich says, especially when factions started as good guys and fan favorites, then boom, throughout one show, their heels. Like the Seth Rollins thing. Even with Seth Rollins, that's a good example too. Seth Rollins. He was a heel and people still bought his gear. You get what I'm saying? It's just, it's all about investing. Shoot, that's like the third one. Is investing. Communication is key. Do your research and invest. That's all you got to do. You have to invest. I'm so mad because I forgot another point that I was just thinking about, but I might bring it back. But anyway, with that being said, it's all about what you want to do, what you put in, and what you get out of it. It's like I said, and even like Bryant, he kind of spoke long-term plans help with sales, having a direction. Yes, storytelling. Can you storytell as a heel? Can you storytell as a face without even being in a storyline at the actual wrestling show? To the point that people want to see it. You know, you got people that do raffles for certain things. You got people that do things for charity or for like breast cancer awareness and stuff like that. What can you do to provide for you and to provide for the company? You have a lot of companies that want you to sell merch and want you to get money and stuff because some want to pay more, some don't. Some want to pay more for you, but they also want to make sure you're taken care of. You just have to make sure you're invested in it. Like wrestling is business moves, right? Sometimes people want to make a name for themselves. Sometimes people want to make it and stuff like that. Some people just want to go out and wrestle, and that's cool. Rich says, give me something to invest in. And if you're not investing yourself 100%, why should anybody else invest? Like I said, that Tough Enough promo, that's not cutting it no more. it's not cutting it no more, because everyone went through that as a wrestler. Everybody, regardless of how long they've been in the business, if they are a good guy or if they are a bad guy, everybody has went through that similar thing. Nobody cares to see us. Nobody wants to this and that. Now you can sit there and let that hold you down, or you can sit there and get stronger and treat it like an ankle weight. Straight up. Like, right. Like I said, I have family who has come to shows. I have friends, but my more core thing are people who I've just met, talked to, or found out about the wrestling company. And I continue to grow, and I want to continue to grow, and I'm speaking on that because I want more people to come to the show, and I want more people to enjoy it. You get what I'm saying? Like I said, as all my kids making all that noise upstairs, wrestling is fun. Wrestling can be fun. If I'm not having fun in it, I don't want to be a part of it no more. Promoting can be fun. Booking is fun. When I don't have fun with it, I'm not going to do it anymore. But what I will not do is I will not let somebody else steal that from me and allow them to take that from me from both ends, because I do wrestle for a couple more companies. And then I'm invited to wrestle for a company in Wisconsin in December and stuff like that. So I'm going to give my all. Every match, I give my all. Win, lose, or draw, I give my all. I ask what do they want? And that's another thing with wrestlers, is that you have to actually listen to what the promoter wants. I'm gonna go through this. I'm gonna go through all that noise because I almost yelled in the mic and scared everybody. Matter of fact, let me take care of this right now. All right, that's my baby, my little baby Samaya. Hey, I forgot we're talking about it. We're talking about that. Yeah, ask what the promoter want. I'm sorry, y'all, but ask what the promoter want. Or the promoter would tell you, okay, hey, I don't need nothing crazy. Just go out 5 to 7. That's it. 5 to 7 does not mean 5 to 7 hours. You know, some of us, we have the venue for a certain amount of time, and we want to get in and get out. In my daddy voice, y'all won't. Dang, Atlas, basically. But I told him to like hold it down for a little bit. But anyway, going back to it, if the promoter says we only need a 5 to 7 minute match, just keep within your means. If you want a longer match, go straight in the ring and work the crowd. You ain't got to do the whole NASCAR circle, because usually 5 to 7, that's including the entrance. So if you are a charismatic person, he's a kid. But if you are a charismatic person or whatever like that, do it in the ring. Go straight in the ring and do that. 5 to 7 is 5 to 7. Some of us have things we got to do. Some people got to work overnight. Sometimes the venue's trying to close and stuff like that. And that's to be the worst thing when you're trying to hurry up and get out of a spot because they're closing soon. Even me on Saturdays at in Hammond, like I said, they close at 4. So we try to make sure we're done with the show around 3 or 3:15. And the more hands on deck that could do the help with ring crew, we out. And we be out, that ring be in the thing less than 10 minutes sometimes, because people try to hurry up and go, and then we'll celebrate. We'll go out to eat or whatever like that. So listen to what the promoter wants. Okay, if they don't want a certain move done, John does this because we spoke about it at one of the previous lives. Don't do that move. Find something else to do. And that's the thing. Sometimes you got to learn how to be versatile when it comes to wrestling. And I believe a lot of people only know one style. And then when the promoter says, or the booker, better yet, the booker says, don't do this, there's an attitude because that's all you know. That's not a good thing to tell a promoter or a booker. That's all you know. You know, you got to try to learn certain things in case you have to change it, right? You know, John said it too. He said, Chris Logan, he does the super kick as his finisher. So he says, like in the back, nobody else can do the super kick because that is his move. That's move protection. I look at matches before my matches and I try to see what I could do different. The match I had in April 9th in Wisconsin, we had spots with a manager. And the previous match had spots with the manager too. That match was awesome, by the way. Shout out to T-Dub and Perfection. But I was looking at the whole match. I had to look at the whole match because I did not want to do the same thing they did. And it was already crazy because we had to follow up that match. And I was looking at stuff. Oh, okay, the heel is doing the manager's doing this, so you can't do that. That's the kind of things that I look for and stuff. I asked them, what do they want? Oh, 5 to 7 or the 10 to 15. And I give them what they want because that's what they ask for. That's what continues to get me booked at certain spots. Respecting the business, trying to help with ring crew, giving back, doing promos when asked. When a promoter asks for a promo, try to get it to them as quick as possible. If the show is June 18th, it's probably not best to give it to them June 17th or June 15th or whatever like that. Like, I asked the guys who I book to do promos and stuff like that. And they give them to me at a reasonable time. I know I'm pushy sometimes, but I know what I need to do. I know what I need to do. I'm trying to do things different. You get what I'm saying? But you do have some promoters that like they are lenient on you, like breaking time and stuff like that. And I do know that there are some promoters that ghost wrestlers as well. Never worry about who you follow. True. That's true. I had to though. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I had to because one, besides that, I just didn't want to do the same thing. Only because they had similar situations that were in my match that was incorporated in our match, and I just wanted it to be different. I didn't want it to have a repetitive match. You get what I'm saying? John says, I have a list of finishes that each star uses. No one else can do that. But that person, same with the flip. I'd rather give that to the one highlight real talent that it suits. Yeah. I agree with that. You know, with C3, there have been things to where something did happen twice. And then it's like, okay, well, now I got to clean that up. I got to fix that. I got to make sure that kind of thing don't happen. You know what I'm saying? Those kind of things happen. Sometimes it's by accident. You know, I'm not one of those ones that just get angry all of a sudden, unless it was like something that was intentional. You get what I'm saying? Oh, I'm going to do this because I've been doing this for years. I'm like, well, if you've been doing it for years, you can live to not do it for one day or for one show or for one match. You know, as far as promoting wise, you know, some promoters, they go ghost. They go ghost on some wrestlers. I'm a living example of wrestling for a company, and then they said that they were going to continue to book me, and then one time they said they couldn't book me because of ABCD. So I'm like, okay, cool, dang, that sucks. Then I never got booked again. It happens. It happens. As a promoter, I've been booked too, and this is why walking and talking is a lost art. Walking and talking, man. It's been a long time since I did it because of circumstances. I like those matches, man. I used to go to practice and just do those because it seemed more natural. It didn't seem like the moves were rehearsed. Oh, I got to be here and I got to be at this spot, or I got to be this, and it looks spot or whatever like that. When the chaining looks a lot better and stuff like that. And you got to learn how to talk to where people cannot hear what you're saying. because they're going to laugh or they're going to be turned off by it. So yeah, walking and talking, that should be a requirement. Like that could be somebody's tryout match. Why don't you go against this person and let's see what you can do? Because sometimes bookings get canceled. Sometimes people can't make it. Sometimes an accident happens. Sometimes it's a car wreck. Sometimes it just can't make it. And then you only got a minute to talk to your opponent. So you have to do what? You got to call it in the ring. It's no point to you can try to hurry up and talk a match, but it might be best to call it in the ring. That's when you learn how to work the crowd and how to get behind, how to make people get behind who you're going against or yourself, depending on what you want to do. And it's fun. To me, it's fun. It's not stressful because you got to learn how to work. You got to learn how to do all of that. You almost crap your pants when we did it. I was young, sir. I was young. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it, Atlas. Because I had an idea what I wanted to do. We didn't do it. He said, call in the ring. I bet. It never worked. But anyway, yeah, calling in the ring is fun, though. I will say that. But it's like I said, you never know when you might have to call it in the ring. You just, like I said, anything can happen or whatever like that. You know, I know like usually the rookies, like I said, I ain't a vet, but usually rookies, they'll get like a little nervous about it. But when you do more of them, it's fun. It's real fun. Real fun. So I will say that. But going back to being ghosted, you know, people get ghosted on both sides of it. Promoters ghost wrestlers, and wrestlers ghost promoters. Like with Guys versus Gals, I was trying to find a lot of women for that show, for that intergender show, and some looked at the message and never responded. Should I be mad? It is what it is. That's what they wanted to do. I don't really get upset when people message me. I don't message them right away because I do talk to my wife, and I am a busy person as well. And I low-key fell out with somebody who wanted to do something for the company. Shout out to them. But I was like, I'm talking to my business partner. Like, you're not going to tell me how I should answer my question that you sent me. You get what I'm saying? But I do try to, because I am a wrestler. So I have had people turn around and, you know, ask, could this and could that? And I say, hey, how's it going? Thank you for showing interest. If something comes up, I will let you know. And then these people, they get happy. Hey, thank you for responding. Like, fam, I know a lot of y'all ain't out there not just answering people's stuff, man. I just know y'all don't have that kind of God complex on the situation, bro. Like, you get a thank you for being denied. Like, what? Like, and sometimes I book these people, or sometimes like I said, I try to do more local. You get what I'm saying? I try to do more local talent or whatever, because I do feel like the Midwest has a lot of stuff to say. In the words of Outkast, he said the South got something to say. I say the Midwest got something to say. So you see people from Chicago, from Detroit, spots in Indiana. You see a whole bunch of people coming in. Wisconsin, you see a lot of people coming in. The Midwest swing. That song, I like that song. But yeah, I try to keep it more Midwest, but like everybody who has messaged me, I have responded to. You know, I know what it's like to be ghosted, or somebody, you know, look at it or whatever like that. That kind of stuff happens. So, you know, don't take it personal. Just get over it or whatever like that. But, you know, if you do want to be booked some places, it don't hurt to ask, what does it take for me to be booked? Like, that's okay. You know, if you want to be booked, like sometimes, like, dudes are never paid all the way anyway. So you never know. Like, I've had people, they were security for an event, and then I wound up booking them. Or they help with ring crew and stuff like that. Or they asked, or they said, hey, I'll do this and I'll help with that. Like, low key, that's like one of the things they offer. And I'm like, dang, okay, cool, shoot. Hey, if you have anything for me to do, let me know. I don't have to wrestle. Okay, you can be security, or you can help with my wife, or you can help with certain things, or you can act a certain thing. You know, I always have spots for people. My partner Kev, he's gonna be the host of the show. And I don't want to say he's just a wrestling fan, he's an observer. Like, he sees stuff. He doesn't just look at wrestling from a fan's perspective or whatever like that. He knows some of the inner workings and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm gonna work with him. I'm gonna work with him. I'm gonna work with my people. You get what I'm saying? You know, I got some more people that I'm booking for future shows when I have it down the line. I give you a hint. Some of them is in the chat. Like I said, I was supposed to do something last year. I had a plan on what I was going to do, but it got derailed with some news, unfortunately, and we was on a hiatus for a little bit. But I had plans. Some people can attest to that in the chat, and I still have those. Yellow Pill, Kev, shout out. I'm glad I responded. Can't wait to make my debut. You'll get it. You'll kill it. Yes, yes, Mr. C Red. But yeah, I try to do things different, and I mix. I do mix stuff. You get what I'm saying? So I don't book the same people. I do have a core. Not even gonna lie, I have a core of people. I have storylines going on, and also have a core people who have shown things and care about the company and do a whole bunch of stuff for it or whatever like that. So usually I ask them first before I go out and ask new people, because new people are gonna show up anyway. You get what I'm saying? So I do try to get new people to come in and do fresh matchups and stuff like that. And I wish I could book everybody for every show, but I can't. One, because paying, and two, other people have other things they have to do too. Some people have their own companies. Some people get booked other spots, and I don't even be mad at that. I just be mad if I book you for a show and then all of a sudden you forgot or something like that. This happened before. I booked some person. I booked a guy. He was supposed to be for the show. He messaged me close to the show saying, "Oh, I forgot. Basically, I was booked somewhere else." Did it sting? Yes. Now you're talking about the wrestler. But it happens. That kind of stuff happens. If you have a bigger opportunity, some people are cool with that. Some people are like, "Oh, okay, go ahead." I can't offer you what they can offer you, that platform or whatever like that. But communication is key. Don't say that you can't work or you can't do a show because you're sick, but then you at another company that got cameras and all kind of stuff, and you taking pictures talking about this was match of the night. Like, be clear. Communication is key. And if you are a booker or a promoter, just tell the people, "Hey, we don't have room for you here," or something like that. Sometimes people can make my show, and sometimes they can't because they have their own things. Steve says, "Yeah, best to be honest than fake." Yeah, because some of us network with other promoters and stuff like that. And some wrestlers network with other wrestlers. So if you're a company that don't pay what you're supposed to pay or pay them what you owe, then yeah, people will not come to your company and wrestle for that. They'll bring up receipts. They'll bring up the messengers and stuff. Y'all remember Justin Kendra? I don't know who else. Y'all remember, what was it, D3 Wrestling or whatever? And they was trying to say that they they had an MTV TV deal, and they were supposed to pay everybody, and people wanted them not being paid, and they started putting people's money on one check, and then the check was bouncing harder than Bow Wow and Bounce Whitney. Hey, don't tell them, Chris. Just means we'll take over the whole show. Yeah. And that's the thing. We work hard. We work hard for it. And my thing is this, and I will say this about, especially for Mr. C Red in the chat, this man does not have to do half the things that he do for my company, but he does it. When I say something, like when somebody says something negative and I address my company on Facebook, Atlas doesn't have to say, "Don't worry about that," or "F them." And he'll say that. A lot of these people don't have to do none of the stuff that they do. And I'm grateful for that, because I'm just trying to make a name for myself and for the wrestlers there and stuff like that. And I'm not putting myself above nobody. I pray for everybody. I talk to people. I crack jokes and everything. You get what I'm saying? I just try to do everything the right way, as a promoter, as the booker, and as a wrestler. You get what I'm saying? So these are a couple things. I know there's like a lot more that could be covered. I know that Bryant, he brought up some good things about with favoritism and stuff like that. That sounds like a good topic for another live, though. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. I think that'll be a good topic for another live. So that's maybe the next show. Now, The next show will most likely be a midnight show because I'm off tomorrow and then I'm back on 3 to 11s at work. Now, it's either that. It's either going to be favoritism in wrestling or it's going to be a special show with my wife, Sensational Shay. We decided that we were going to make a list about things that we do not like and we can't stand in professional wrestling. So that is going to be out of those two topics. It's either going to be favoritism in wrestling or it's going to be what we don't like in wrestling. And that'll be a list. Like she's making a list and I'm making a list too. And we kind of said what we're going to say, but we didn't say everything. Now, my wife is observant and she's more observant than me. So I have a feeling she's going to have a longer list than me. So you tune into that. Y'all tune into that. I appreciate everybody as I'm leaving soon in a few seconds. I appreciate everybody that commented. I'm going to try to go through them all. Shout out to Rich, Bryant, C Red, John, I said Rich, Kendra, Justin with Kendra, who else? James Watts, Atlas, of course. Shout out to Kev. Shout out to Matt on YouTube. Steve, man, look, I'm just grateful. Why y'all got to talk about me? All right, C Red, dog, because you show how much you give to wrestling and you show how important wrestling is to your life, to the point to not only do you wrestle, do you manage, you also podcast and you sell your merchandise and stuff like that. You show you put your brand on wrestling and that brand will never go away. You left a mark. It's a red mark, but you left a mark in wrestling and stuff like that. And then the stuff that we talk about, you wouldn't think that somebody who goes through what you went through or still go through could just walk around with a smile on their face and show wrestling and stuff like that. So you are an inspiration. So that's why I talk about a lot of the same guys, because I don't look up to a lot of people in wrestling. That's I really don't. So the main people who I talk about, I've said multiple times in lives and stuff like that. And that's only because they try to protect the business. And a lot of people don't try to protect it anymore. So that's why I bring your name up a lot. Steve says, yeah, and as for the heel promo, I got something right quick. If you marks want to see some real wrestling and not tweet about it, stop by C3 Wrestling. I like that. It was a joke that you and your wife were double teaming. Yeah. everybody got to get on you, bro. It's all love. But before I head on out, I want to say thank you guys for listening. Like I said, where the real issues at. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't on YouTube, subscribe to the Take It Home podcast. Also to subscribe to the C3 Ultimate Wrestling YouTube page. Check out our website. If you want to do a sponsorship for the show, hit me up on Facebook or my email, which I will put in the chat real quick. Also, check me out on Twitch. I still need to figure out how to do Twitch. But my email is docchris425@aol.com. I don't know why it doesn't show on Facebook anymore, but there it is. Once again, thank you guys. This is Chris Classic. Let's take it home.